Okay guys, so by now you've already heard about the war that broke out in Israel, which pretty much proves that this world is crazy, it's insane, and that any split second things can change, right? The news that we have here coming out in the Greek channels is basically that Hamas was able to get into 7 towns in Israel, kidnap civilians, unarmed civilians, women, children, grandparents, whatever, get them over into the Gaza Strip. They also kidnapped and arrested Israeli soldiers. I think a few, not many. They took out an Israeli tank at the borders and so on. So things are, it's insane. As if the world didn't have enough already with Ukraine and Russia, that war going on. As if the United States of America didn't even have enough with Biden administration sending over 110 billion US dollars. Who knows, might be the final figure could be way more than that, over to Ukraine, while the US economy and the US itself is having major issues that they should have looked at and fixed. But we're a finance channel, right? And the point is that this is going to affect the stock market, guaranteed. How much so is going to depend on how much this war drags on, if it's very serious, and so on. Another thing that they also state in the Greek media, I don't know if they state in the US media, but in the Greek media, from Lebanon, on the borders of Lebanon with Israel, there's fears that Hezbollah could get in. Hezbollah hasn't gotten into this yet officially, right? So if we have that, then things are just getting out of control. Hezbollah is controlled by Iran, right? Israel is already blaming Iran. Israel has already made it known for the past decade that they want to have an attack on Iranian soil to attack the Iranian nuclear facilities, right? So maybe this is the excuse, let's say, that Israel would want to use and attack the nuclear facilities of Iran. All right, how does that affect the stock market, guys? It affects the stock market in one simple way, the energy markets. As long as this goes worse and worse and worse, the energy prices are going to go higher, in my opinion. It's not a 1970s thing where all the Arab states were against Israel. Yeah, fine, but it's sort of a 1970s thing if you consider that, now we also have Russia on the side. The West has already punished Russia. And you get also Iran out of the way. Who knows what else is going to happen? What about Saudi Arabia and all that? And starting today, we officially have a recipe for an insane energy market crisis. That energy market crisis is going to be reflected on the stock market for sure on Monday. I think oil stocks are going to go up. And oil stocks are going to be very interesting for this winter. Oil stocks, natural gas stocks. It's going to get really interesting. I can already see investors rushing who haven't gotten into oil stocks. We've been in oil stocks already in my Discord. All right, so let's go over to oilprices.com, and we can see the oil prices. They're going to be higher than what they are, what you see right here, guys, starting tomorrow, in my opinion, right? And like I said, we'll see how this goes. But oil stocks, if you already own oil stocks, I'm not saying it's a celebration that if you own oil stocks and they go up, you're making money, so this is perfect. People are suffering, and I would wish that politicians finally get their freaking brains together, which they're not. Unfortunately, they're not. I mean, when you see, which I don't even know how the politicians will ever get their brains together. I mean, if you look at how crazy this political world has become, you have all of a sudden, let's say, Trudeau over in Canada bringing in a fighter who fought for Hitler, who fought for the Nazis, he fought for their army, right? And giving him an applause as a hero. How in the world do we take the not normal and twist it and make it now normal and right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Let's look at a Washington Post article, which actually shows it's actually a Bloomberg article. So let's look at that real quick. All right, guys, so let me jump over to the Washington Post. This is actually an article, and the article is from Bloomberg, as you can see here, right? So it's actually an article from Bloomberg on the Washington Post. And it goes on to say with the title, for oil, it's not 1973 again, but it could still turn ugly. 1973, for sure, not. Back in 1973, all the Arab states turned against Israel. So history doesn't repeat itself, it says, but it often rhymes. On the eve of the 50th anniversary of the world's first oil crisis, the parallels between October 2023 and 1973 are easy to draw. A surprise attack on Israel. The thing is complicated, guys, because what's going to happen with Arab states like Saudi Arabia? Is Saudi Arabia going what are they going to do with oil right now? Okay, are they going to cut production? They're going to what about Iran? Iran recently had closed a deal with the United States to be able to export oil. Now, behind all this, Israel is blaming Iran, right? And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I don't want it to. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. It goes on to say the situation is fluid, and for the oil market, everything depends about how Israel responds to Hamas, which launched the attack, and Iran, which typically pulls the strings behind the Palestinian group. Still, we can draw a few tentative conclusions. The crisis isn't a repeat of October 1973. Arab countries aren't attacking Israel in union, right, together. Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Saudi Arabia. Also, the oil market itself doesn't have any of the pre-October 1973 characteristics. Back then, oil demand was surging, and the world had exhausted all the spare production capacity. Oil demand is not surging right now, even before this attack on Israel, because we had a sort of a small drop in consumer demand. They go on to say something stupid in this article. Unfortunately, I'm going to say it. I'm sorry, it's stupid. Today's consumption growth has moderated, likely due to further electric vehicles becoming a reality. Well, you know what? Electric vehicles becoming a reality, in my opinion, if things get really bad with, let's say, Israel attacking Iran, which just things are just going to get really bad globally, economies are going to suffer. No one's going to go buy electric vehicles for $70,000, $50,000, $50,000, $60,000 cars. It's over, and don't expect electric vehicles to save the day here. All right. As importantly, today OPEC nations aren't trying to boost prices beyond a few extra dollars. Well, that's what it was before this Israel attack. I also believe that if this thing gets worse and worse, and it's a prolonged war, and it involves Iran officially, then we're going to have shipping rates go up big time. Thus, in the U.S. stock market, shipping stocks, in my opinion, are going to go up. Now, I could be wrong. Depends also on the fact that maybe global demand falls a lot, so then there's less goods to be traded and shipped around the world. I wish you guys all the best and stay safe.